Despite suffering major political defeats on Social Security, a Supreme Court nominee, the Dubai ports deal, President Bush says he can succeed in pushing immigration reform through this Congress, and the Senate Judiciary Committee backed him up, passing a guest worker program that's close to what the president wants. It is amnesty, but it's far from what the American people want. In a recent Time magazine poll, nearly two-thirds of those surveyed disapproved of the president's handling of immigration. Joining me now to share their views and their views of their audience's views, three of the most provocative radio talk show hosts in the country. Bob Pickett, he's the host of Open Line on KISS FM in New York. Richard Bay of Sirius Left Radio. And from Washington, Joe Madison, the Black Eagle on WOL. Good to have you here, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Richard, let's start with you. What is the reaction of your audience to this?
Well, I think the reaction is varied, but I think that people, as far as my opinion goes, react to this in the wrong way. They come from different areas. There is an element of racism and xenophobia that is at play out there. There is also the understanding of some people that this is a political football, that certain parties can play to their advantage. I think what people fail to understand is the economic issue that's at play here, and the effect and the role that illegal immigration has on distorting the free market in terms of the value of labor, especially those people who labor at the lowest end of the economic scale. When we're told that CEOs deserve a 50% increase in salary because, well, you just can't find the guys to do this kind of job. Well, when you bring in labor that is willing to work under poor conditions, perhaps dangerous conditions, without benefits, at a low salary, what does that do to the working man in America?
You know what I just heard? I don't know about you, Joe, Bob. As you said that, I just heard this loud slam as the door came down on our border. If we had illegal CEOs coming across from either the north or the south, you can bet it'd be
Maybe
shut
that's a
down
good
in
idea.
hurry. Well, let's think about it. Maybe we can put it into action. Joe Madison, do you think there's race involved here, xenophobia? Do you think that's what this is all about?
Oh, I think that there is some. I would agree. But look, I'm going to tell you, I've done this topic for a number of days now, and I don't have a racist audience. I'm going to tell you, this is very simply one thing. It is insulting to have the President of the United States on his Saturday morning address to the nation say there are jobs Americans won't take. Now, first of all, find me those Americans and let me know what those jobs are, and I'll tell you what the issues are. They're just what the other gentleman said. They are poor-paying jobs. But the thing that irritates me the most, I walked to this studio today from Union Station here in Washington, D.C., and a young African-American says, "Hey, Madison, the Black Eagle, it's good seeing you. God bless you." And he's handing out free Washington Post newspapers. Is that one of those jobs that Americans won't take? Americans are sophisticated enough to know that this is nothing more than economic exploitation, and that trumps xenophobia and racism.
You agree, Bob?
Wholeheartedly, Joe. Congratulations on that one. My audience, our audience here at KISS FM, Lou, are firmly against the policy that's being proposed by the president. We believe that it's wrong-headed. And what message does it send to the rest of the world who's trying to get to America? That come to America and eventually we'll grant you amnesty. That is not the way to go, and that, to me, is a good example of our immigration policy over the last 25 years, okay? Quite frankly, Black America has been asleep on this issue. We're now awakening to the fact that this is going to impact on us more than it's going to impact on any other group of people in this country.
And I want you to know, I used to have as much hair as you had.
But I think one thing to remember, too, is that these are people who are engaging in the most essential human endeavor, which is trying to better your life. These are human beings who have families. I don't think we
stipulate that.
Right. I know you do.
All these folks. I don't care whether what's your race, your religion. You're here in the United States. You're folks, human beings. Now what?
Yeah, but nobody really blames these people for wanting to seek a better life.
Some people do.
Joe and I,
I'm not saying
but Joe and I don't blame them at all.
But
they're entitled to come to America, but under the rules that apply to everybody. They're not, Joe.
I mean, entitled
but you
to
know
come here legally.
Legally, yes,
legal. In other words, they're not entitled.
But you know
in
who's
point of
laughing.
fact, Joe, just a second,
I'm sorry.
because I want to make something clear, because I think it's critically important. No one is entitled to come to this country in any other fashion than legally.
Legally.
And until this country decides that those sovereign borders mean something, and that those borders and our ports mean something to the safety and the security of the American people, I mean, we're a lost nation if we continue this.
No doubt about it.
We're going to have to continue. I'll come back with you. We're sitting here. We're going to resolve a lot of issues here tonight. There's too much agreement. We're going to get that fixed. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Good.
And Bob Pickett, host of Open Line on KISS FM in New York. Richard Bay of Sirius Left Radio. From Washington, Joe Madison, the Black Eagle on WOL. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, Richard, you started this. You started talking about racism, and xenophobia is an element of this. I happen, by the way, to think if it is an element, it is a minuscule element.
I don't think so.
But let's go right straight to it. A great deal of the lobbying efforts are coming from ethnocentric organizations. They are absolutely race-focused, race-based.
They play right into this race,
and they're driving it.
They play right into their counterparts.
Part of the reporting that we did tonight, Richard, is that Hispanic radio, one host in particular in Los Angeles, driving much of that demonstration.
And he happened to have been an illegal immigrant at one time, the host of the show.
But I'm just saying, how to sort that out in terms of racism for us, if you will.
Well, I think they play right into the hands of those people who are anti-Mexican, anti-Hispanic.
No, that's conventional. Joe?
Look, let me tell you. I'll tell you. Look, first, let me say something. Presidente Fox is laughing all the way to the bank. He gets more money from us having money sent through illegal aliens, immigrants back to Mexico than his gross national product. I'm a baby boomer. I want people paying into the Social Security system because there's going to be a whole bunch of us that are going to reach retirement age, and it's going to need those workers. And number three, what is racist? How can Cesar Chavez have been opposed to illegal immigration because he knew it undercut his efforts to organize unions to get favorable working conditions? I'll tell you what's racist is when you economically exploit people in order to gain huge profits at their expense. That is the ultimate racism in America.
I would agree with you, but these people aren't coming here to join La Raza. They aren't coming here to have California secede and become a Mexican province.
Let me say this.
They're coming here because they're poor.
Let me say this and flip it around, because I think the real racism is not necessarily involving the people who are against the protesting and so forth, but the real racism occurs because of the immigration policy over the last 40 years. No, keep this in mind. When the Civil Rights Act was passed in 1964, the Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965, there was the Immigration Reform Act of 1965 that allowed and changed the whole immigration policy in this country. And that, to me, impacted negatively on Black America. If any racism is involved at all, it's against Black America.
I think you're misunderstanding me. I'm not saying this is a racist issue. There is a definite good, legal, political reason for being against illegal immigration.
Tremendous stuff. The impact on Black America.
Well, it's tremendous on Black America, white America, Hispanic America.
I agree.
The thing we got to get back to is everybody between these borders.
America,
is an American.
America.
And we got to move away from this nonsense.
I agree, Lou, but America has to take firm action to stop illegal immigrants from coming into this country and tighten the borders, only because in long-term benefits.
All you have to do is put some CEOs in jail.
That's exactly right. I had to show a driver's license to get into CNN. Why shouldn't someone show a picture ID when they go for employment?
Well, you know what? I think your listeners are well served, and I know that our viewers are. We thank you for being here as a result of your participation. Joe, as usual,
thank you.
We've managed to resolve these issues in a matter of moments.
We should be in the Senate.
Yeah, no.
And Joe, maybe I'll have no hair in a couple of years, too.
I'll put you forward, Joe, but not me, partner. Bob, thank you very much. Richard, good to have you here.
Nice to be here.